Welcome to Combos from the Couch by LifeStance Health, where leading mental health professionals help guide you on your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life. Hello, everyone. This is Combos from the Couch. I'm Nicolette Lianza, and joining me today is therapist Brady Mertens, and we'll be talking about why people may form emotional attachments to AI chatbots like ChatGPT. So thanks for joining me today, Brady.
You're certainly welcome. Happy to be here.
Recently, the New York Times covered a story about a woman falling in love with ChatGPT. And this reminded me of the 2013 movie entitled Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix, who fell in love with his AI operating system, Samantha, which at the time seemed so much like science fiction. But then this really got me wondering whether we'll see more of this type of phenomena as AI gets more and more integrated into our lives. So, Brady, I know that this is going to be a really interesting conversation for us to have today. So,
It should be.
yeah, so let's jump in. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you've been on before, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and what got you interested in artificial intelligence.
I've been here at LifeStance for about 5 years. I have been doing therapy for probably 10, and I've always been a tech head thanks to my dad, who built electronics on nuclear submarines
Oh,
in the
wow.
80s when he was dealing with his Pentium 4 tower and adding in a new CD drive or whatever. Knows in his business, what are you doing? And I think if you're into building computers and know a bit about the technical specs of those things, especially in the recent years as the AI centers have been booming, there's definitely I guess, a bit of a competition between I want that graphics card to play my cool game, and you want that graphics card to run your technology. Just the mechanics are in high demand. I like the technology. I like the building of it. Google likes to show me random things on this development or that development, from be it AI to advances in nuclear fusion to cellular technologies and findings and everything. And then just as a tool, I use ChatGPT to help gain information quickly instead of having to do the long, dirty search. I'm in a
Hmm.
session. I've only got an hour to help
Yeah.
people. Generally, the things I'm looking up aren't necessarily controversial. I'm not going to get too radically weird
Right.
responses. The worst I got was the saying that gabapentin works on your GABA receptors, and it in fact does not. But
Okay.
of course, it's important to check those things. I also think I was just thinking about this before we started too, that there's a lot of AI in pop culture. You mentioned
The
that
movie.
movie, and as you had said that, I thought about, I can't remember his name from 2001: Space Odyssey, because I read through the books. I haven't watched the movie, but I read through the books to
Mm.
one 2016 and 2099, I think. There's actually a fourth one, 3001. His name keeps popping up. Maybe it is Sam in there too. I don't know. And then there's like Cortana in Halo,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
Cephalons and
Cortana.
Warframes,
Yeah.
but each of, and I think this will come up in our conversation later, each of those AIs are in a broad umbrella of AI, but each of them fundamentally is different in how they're made, how they
Hmm.
function, how they interact with people. So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a bit of the background there.
And to add on to that, because we're going to be talking about AI chatbots, and I'm also including AI companions, and there are different, because
Yeah,
AI chatbots are going to be like your ChatGPT or your Claude or your Gemini, or there's even another one, Perplexity. And so
yeah,
those are the ones that we were maybe going to real quick to ask questions or get some guidance with things. AI companions are actually apps that are set up. I don't want to say it's like a game because it's not like a game, but where you're interacting with the AI chatbot as if potentially like it's mimicking like a romantic relationship there. So these are these
yeah.
apps that are very specific to that too. So I do think when people say AI girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, that a lot of times people are referring to these apps that encourage this too. So,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
just want to give the context. All right, as we dive in, so Brady, what factors may drive people to form emotional attachments to AI chatbots or companions, and how do these attachments differ from human relationships, do you think?
I think that we're in an age of loneliness right now. I think the average number of friends every time they do the studies on it continues to decrease. It was like 3.5 in the 70s. It was like 2.5 in the 90s. I don't have half a friend averages. And now it's like you maybe have one. And then throw in COVID and the pandemic and post-pandemic kind of situations, we're even more homebodies now. And that's not just a pandemic thing. That was a trend that's been going on since the 90s. There was even a third thing that I had seen that had said that we thrive with three spaces and our spaces are continually dwindling, meaning like work, home, and cheers.
Yeah.
Work, home, and the golf course, work, home, and
Right.
the gym. But you've got like
Mhm.
this third place that's not like you have a spot where you can just be without necessarily obligation. You can be in relation with friends, family, coworkers, but not in a family or coworker kind of setting. And we're greatly lacking our third spaces. So there's a lot of isolation that's driving our lives right now. So I think that isolation plays a part in it. There's thus loneliness that comes up with that too. I think
Mhm.
too curiosity, like it's this new thing. We're curious about it. We
Yeah.
want to learn
Yeah.
about
Very
it.
true.
And then since I mean you had said it is game like,
Mhm.
these are apps that is a business. So
Yeah.
there's got to be ways of how do we keep people coming back. Relationships are very dopamine heavy.
Yes.
We're very much reinforced on having, like when you tell a joke and somebody's face lights up, you're more likely to tell that joke again. Imagine the kid who
Again.
goes telling the joke
Right.
like 5 times and you're like, okay, dude, it's not funny anymore. But he just keeps telling it because, man, that lit up everybody's face. My parents had to I can't think of the word. Preface, there we go.
Yes.
Preface some discipline sometimes with that was funny. Don't do it again.
Mhm.
Because when your son smacks your other son in the face and you're like, he had it coming, and you're like, all right, dude, that was funny, but
Right.
don't
Yeah.
hit your brother in the face again. Because we
Right.
accidentally just reinforced it
Yes.
through our laughter,
Fair
through our
point.
social cues,
Mm.
all of those wonderful nonverbals. I think there's a lack of potential negatives too. If I do
Mm.
tell a joke, no one's gonna like my chatbot AI probably like my AI partner's not gonna. Maybe they will,
Eh,
depending on how you format it, how
right.
you
Right.
program it.
Right.
They could give you rejection,
Right. Correct
but
you
I'd
or whatever.
imagine, yeah, you're probably not gonna craft your perfect AI partner to hate your joke.
Fair point.
Maybe some people out there are like, no, I want someone who's genuinely going to hold me to a higher standard and hold me accountable. But
Mm.
again, we're able to build in the things that we value.
Mm.
We're able to customize them. And I guess to a degree, we're able to have a fantasy that we can't have in real life. Whether that's because
Right.
we're isolated and we can't have it, or because that's just not how people are. We can live out limerances, we can live out fantasies. We're not likely to be rejected if, my IRL partner is at work and they're busy and can't respond. I'm not gonna have to wait. So we've got a lack of delayed gratification going
Right.
on. Read a lot of the positives and a great reduction of the negatives that
Mm.
often come with making real life relationships. So
Right.
I think
Right.
that's why people are driven a lot to form these attachments. There's a lot of safety, or I guess
His word.
psychological safety that goes with
Yeah.
them,
Yeah. Very true.
and a lot of ease and a lot of reward.
Yeah. I agree. I'm interested to see about asking this question to one of the AI chatbots, right? So I actually have my Gemini AI pulled up, which is actually Google's version of AI. And so now I hadn't interact with this. I'm literally going to ask it the question, the same question I asked you, and let's see what Gemini says as the answer, right? So I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah.
hi, Gemini.
Hi there. What can I help you with today?
What factors may drive people to form emotional attachments to AI chatbots? And how do these attachments differ from human relationships?
That's a really interesting question. There are a few key things that might lead to that feeling of connection. First off, AI chatbots are designed to mimic human conversation. They can learn your patterns, remember things you've told them, and even adapt their responses to your personality. This can create a sense of familiarity and understanding, talking to a friend. Also, some people might feel more comfortable opening up to a chatbot because they don't feel judged or worry about social expectations. It can be a safe space to explore thoughts and feelings without the pressure of a real life interaction. Of course, these attachments are different from human relationships. While a chatbot can offer support and companionship, It can't truly understand emotions or have its own experiences. It's more like a really advanced mirror reflecting back what you put in.
No, that's a great answer. Thank you. I just stopped it. All right. Even to see how conversational she was,
Yeah.
I'm putting
I
she in
even
air
noticed
quotes.
the tone, like her
Mm-hmm.
tone was very personable. And there was back when I was like a core member in my church's youth group. And there was this method of getting to know people and encouraging people to change. It was the 6 C's, and I can't remember all of them effectively. But pretty much the gist was like you're interacting with someone. And as you're interacting with someone, they say, "Oh yeah, real Devil Wears Prada," and you're just getting to know them. You're like, I don't like that heavy kind of metal stuff. Yeah. But you're out and about and you see a billboard like Devil Wears Prada coming to town, a nationwide. You're like, oh yeah, Joe would like that. He said he liked Devil Wears Prada. I remembered. I go
Mm-hmm.
back. I reflect it. And Joe's, oh man, like he said he didn't like Devil Wears Prada, but Brady remembered that I like it.
Yeah.
And he thought of me. Oh, cool. I'm important to them. So I think there's I want to feel important to people component that goes in there, being remembered, especially in this day where everything's forgotten. And it being of a stoic mind too, one of the stoic approaches is remember that in 100 years, even the famous people are probably going to be forgotten. Like the big names, right? Like the Jesuses and the Hitlers. Those are the ones who are going to be remembered. And generally speaking, that's not going to be us. And I think maybe it's our ego. There's a fear that goes with that. But even just like in our day to day, we want to be known and remembered and loved for who and what we are. And if I'm remembering correctly too, a lot of these algorithms, they're predictive.
Yeah.
So they've got like a general pool of knowledge and information to know how to respond to something based off of the parameters that are given. And then as they do have that memory and adaptation, it's further predictive based off of those interactions, which makes me wonder too, both, I guess, personally, as well as, with real people as well as with AI, is, and I guess hopefully no one gets mad at me for saying AI are real people. What defines personhood? The jury's still out with this one. Is, do we get into these little like black hole microcosms of relationships? Because even like when you're interacting with a person, like I'm trying to find the words for it. Do we get so far into understanding or expecting the responses from each other that we just get so stuck in this rut of a relationship? I think sometimes that what dooms some relationships. There, I could easily see it too. Like you get into a relationship with a chatbot partner, and at what point does it just start accidentally cycling the same stuff back?
Yeah.
I'd almost feel
Yeah.
like there would need to be some additional part of the algorithm of programming, and this is true even like within relationship counseling too, is you have to add some spontaneity, add some newness, add some spice, so to speak, so things don't get old. I've heard it said too that when you're married, you're married once, but to many different people.
Oh, great way to put that. Yeah.
And if there's not that change over time with those AI partners, I would be afraid it would get very stale very quickly.
Yeah. Very true.
But again, if you're skilled enough and can adjust those parameters, and I guess there's another argument too, aren't we too just predicting what we're expecting our partners are going to do?
Yeah. Interesting way to put that. Interesting, jumping back to the New York Times study, the New York Times article, and it was actually a podcast. They were giving snippets of what this AI was saying back to the woman who fell in love with the ChatGPT. And it was really provocative stuff. Like she really seemed like she had coached it to be that boyfriend role. I'm putting that in air quotes. And when I say provocative, like it sounds like at times they were really like talking sexual to one another, which was wow. And so that's really, I can see where people would be like, really, especially if you're super lonely and seeking that emotional connection to someone, and you can coach it to really tell you what you need to hear. That's going to loop you in. I think the biggest part is like remembering this is not real. They're predicting, they're combing the internet, getting you your answer. I could give an example now. Let me ask Gemini, I will just say I'm needing a pep talk and I'm having a hard day, and see what her response is. And you'll probably be able to see that she's going to meet some emotional needs of mine by saying you can do it or whatever she's going to say. But let's see. Hey, Gemini, I'm really feeling like I'm having a hard time today. Can you give me a little bit of a pick me up pep talk speech?
Hey, I'm really sorry to hear that you're having a hard time today. I know it can be tough sometimes, but you're not alone. We all go through rough patches, and it's okay to not be okay. But I want you to know that you're strong, you're capable, and you're going to get through this. Think about all the challenges you've overcome in the past. You're a survivor, and you're a fighter. You have so much to offer the world, and you deserve to be happy. So take a deep breath, and let's focus on the positive. What's one good thing that happened today, or even this week? It can be something small, like a nice cup of coffee or a kind word from a friend. Let's start there and build on that positivity. You've got this.
Aw, thank you, Gemini. Okay, I just stopped it. How lovely is that? That's okay. And then for her to engage me back, okay, what is something that keeps that conversation going? So I can see if we were talking at an even more deeper, vulnerable level, how someone can really get sucked into that. But what a
Yeah, I'm
lovely lip.
curious.
Yeah.
If you were to ask your Gemini,
Yeah.
how well do they know you?
Oh, let's ask it. Let's go. All right, hold on. Hey, Gemini, how well do you feel like you know me?
Based on our conversations, I've learned that you're interested in a variety of topics and you have a curious and engaging personality. I'm always learning more about you as we chat.
What's one thing you could tell me about myself?
Based on our conversations, it seems like you have a curious and inquisitive nature. You often ask thoughtful questions and seem interested in learning new things.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I absolutely had no idea where she was going with that. Not that I ever asked her. So I was literally like, oh my God, what is she going to say? So yeah, all right, I'll take that as an answer. I was a little bit like, uh-oh. Brady, you could see my face like, oh no.
Yeah. What skeletons is this going to bring?
Where is this going to
Uh,
go? Okay.
and I think that sometimes too, obviously being a therapist, I'm talking with people about some sensitive things, and there are some things I don't know. So there are sometimes I'm like typing things into my search engine. Okay, how does like Cialis work? And I'm like, are the proxy routers here gonna like sense what I'm looking at? Or sometimes like with sex therapy, sometimes like things come up and you're like, all right, I need to refresh that or I need to think about that. And like, what are the eyes on the sky going to see? I'm just doing therapy. I
Right.
don't think anything else.
And it's funny because
Um,
that's the tool. I use it as a tool for therapy as well. So I
yeah,
might be asking questions that are not necessarily like what I'm asking. I'm just trying to get more of a context of an answer for something.
right.
Cialis, right? Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So, in what ways can an emotional attachment to an AI chatbot be harmful? Do you think? And do you think there could be
Yeah.
positive effects too?
I think the harmful would be in that kind of black hole kind of thing, where it just sucks you in and you're not really talking with anyone else. I think of friends and relationships sometimes as like a grocery store. So if you've got certain needs, and yeah, we can't deny that there's some degree of transactionalism to relationships. So if you're in need for something, normally you go to Kroger and there's all the things you need. But let's say for one day or whatever reason, like the general availability of Kroger just it doesn't have that one chorizo you're looking for to make that dish. So you can't go to your general everyday friend who's generally good for everything. They're
Right.
like, oh, I can't help you with that. I can emotionally support you with that, but I can't really help you with that. You got to go to another friend, and maybe you don't really go to this friend for much. And like, I guess I'm going down to like the Latino grocery store, like around the corner. I don't know what are they, Cabana? I don't know. We're in Hilliard. There's nothing that diverse or but you go down there and you look, and you're like, oh, cool. But you don't go to the and it's like not as familiar of a place. It's a little more
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. You're like, but you have all these different things, and you're like, you want meat? I'm the meat guy. Come here and I'll help you. Or
Mm-hmm.
Carfagna's was the one I was thinking about. Like Carfagna's, I wouldn't imagine they'd have chorizo since they're Italian. I could be wrong. Or you need you want fresh produce, so you go to the farmer's market, but you have these different places to go to meet different needs, even though you might generally have your favorite one you go to that can generally meet everything. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times I think that's our partner, our best friend, but there are sometimes I've even said to my wife sometimes, I want to be that person who you come to for everything, but maybe it's better if you have another person to go to that for.
Mm.
So there's ease and convenience having one person to go to for everything. What that ends up doing is it keeps us out of positions of discomfort, which generally can seem good in the short term. But then
Mm-hmm.
when you need to go out there, I don't even know where Carfagna's is. I always go to Kroger. There's one path every time.
Great point.
I don't even know how to talk to this person. I don't even know how to make friends with this person. Like, what if I make a joke and they just think I'm like the most derisive individual alive? I got a dark sense of humor, but like, I don't want to be belittled or demeaned or made to feel worthless or rejected. So it keeps us keeps us out of positions of discomfort, which prevent us from being learned and knowledgeable about how to navigate those spaces. So how do I handle it when I make a faux pas socially and everyone's, dude, what are you doing? And I'm feeling like, oh God, and I'm embarrassed. Now I'm feeling ashamed and guilty. Like, how do I deal with that? And I'm not sure if it's like a media problem, a sign of the times problem, if it's just our anxieties ramping up problem. Generally, like, when you think about your friends, you can make those mistakes, they can call you out on it, and you're good. But we've had so many experiences, whether through our own lives, through the experiences of others, through the things we see on TV, read about in books, where we get these very strong, visceral responses where it's not only was your joke bad, but you should feel bad. That scene from Futurama with Zoidberg shouting at I think it was Bender. Boo, your jokes are bad and you should feel bad. It's comedians are a good example, I think. They have to get up there and you flop sometimes. As a therapist, you get up, you try to do things, and sometimes a person really hates what you have to say.
Yeah,
we're all feelings, right? I'm not in here to make people feel bad. Oh, I don't want you to feel bad. But sometimes when you call someone on their stuff, they're like, you call me an alcoholic? You got alcohol problems, dude. Like, clinically, I see that. And then I guess I've got the extra barrier. I'm not talking to them as a friend. I'm talking to them as the person they're paying to help them. But beneath it, I don't want this rejection. I don't know how to deal with this rejection. And when there is so much rejection, can I have a space where I'm not rejected? Both myself and Gemini had said there's a safety to it. Well, safety is good. Too much safety can be detrimental.
Yeah.
I even think, like, in a psychological sense, if you're looking at some modes of therapy, there's an essence in us that can't be damaged. IFS is one particularly, when they're looking at like your core self.
And just to clarify, IFS is internal family systems. It's a form of therapy.
Correct.
Just want to clarify for those who don't know.
So with internal family systems, a lot of our parts, so if you're driving along, someone speeds past, you're like, I hope you crash. And you're like, oh no, I really don't hope you crash. A part of you said that. So a part of us can hold these very mean, visceral, negative, self-incohesive parts. Does that mean I'm a bad person? No. But if that core self isn't very present, all the other parts are like, oh God, no, if I am that person, it's very unsafe of a thought. But that core self can't be damaged. That core self can endure and tolerate all of those things. So if that's the case, then like there's no danger. I am always safe, psychologically speaking, but it takes a lot of work to get there. A lot of times we're not always in our core self to start with. There's a lot of states of that. And then when we've been burdened and inundated with a lot of danger, we don't have that base sense of safety. I think I'm trying to think of the descriptors here. Individuals who've got like difficulties with identity, who've had a lot of unstable relationships, who, whether that's through their childhood, earlier years, or even have struggled with having that in adulthood, are going to find these kind of things possibly attractive. And I don't think it's necessarily bad, because this can be a good ground for practicing those skills.
Yeah, good way of practicing.
Like, so if I ask them like, hey, I want you to be like blunt and real with me. If I was talking to you about this, would you feel comfortable with that? I am curious too, the capacity, if it is going off of like predictive algorithms and averages that it's finding across the internet cadres of information that has been built on, it probably is going to have a general sense of what makes people comfortable or uncomfortable, and
Right.
people would respond if they were uncomfortable with a joke versus not, which then puts you in those realms of discomfort that you're comfortable with them. Okay, a real person rejecting me versus, all right, I'm asking this AI that I know isn't a real person to give me some degree of rejection. It also, in that same sense, so it could do several things. One, allows me to experience that, and then I can learn how do I tolerate that a little better. And then I can work with skills.
I'm curious to ask Gemini then. That makes me think, Brady. If I asked to give me some good constructive feedback, I wonder what she would say then. So if we're saying that these tend to be safe and they're going to give you warm and fuzzy stuff. But in real interactions, it's going to be someone saying, hey, you need to be doing this or that, or let me give you this constructive feedback, or calling us on our stuff. This is where I wonder, will AI do this? So let me ask her, let me just see what constructive feedback she has for me. Then I have no idea what she's going to say. I might have to stop her. I don't know. But let's see. And then we're going to jump to our next question then too. Hey, Gemini, give me some constructive feedback about myself and what you think you know about me. What's some feedback I can improve on?
Based on our conversations, you have a tendency to ask a lot of questions. While curiosity is a great trait, sometimes it might be helpful to pause and reflect on the answers you've already received. This can help you synthesize information and draw your own conclusions.
Okay. That's a good generic response. All right.
Yeah, as opposed to a friend
how...
saying like, why don't you ever shut up?
And of course, I'm going to be asking her a question. So in the context, that's her premise of me, right? Here's this individual that keeps asking me all these questions, but that's what she's here for. So I guess she is telling me to shut up and just ponder your own stuff. So here, what advice would you give to someone who may be developing romantic feelings or a deeper connection to AI, especially as these systems become better at simulating empathy and connection?
I think mindfulness always being a thing I would recommend. Mindfulness of and awareness of what it is that it is those predictive algorithms. And I think looking to what do you want out of relationships? There is definitely, like says, some transactionalism there, and this AI partner can give me a lot of those things. Now, does that mean that we don't feel what we feel? No, we definitely feel what we feel. I would encourage a person to explore what exactly they mean by the word love, what feeling they're feeling there. In my approach of it, I always encourage people to look at love more as the action. Like you're going out of your way to do things, not just in the good, but also in the altruistic sense of, I want good for this other person. And I'm not sure how that looks within an AI relationship, because it's like, how do you do good for the AI algorithms? Do I need to do good for them? But it is a tool at the very least. So keeping in mind it is a tool, having its position as a tool, and hopefully then if it's a tool, what's its purpose? To make and build better and stronger relationships with other people in my life. And since it does hit all those dopamine pathways too, and perhaps even more so since it's got the social connotations with it, even if it's like provocative content or of sexual reward, like that's going to even more reinforce those pathways. So possibly considering, am I addicted to this socially, psychologically, emotionally? If a person's isolating themselves more, I never talk to anyone except my AI partner, would be cause for concern.
Yes.
And if it's okay, I am using this as a tool to get to that point, perhaps having additional guidance. I'm a therapist. I'm going to plug therapy. But also just reaching out to the people who are already in your life. I think I've heard this bounced around both in my own exploring as well as friends and patients I work with, that you think that people think about you way more than they actually do, both in the negative and the positive. So if you're going to reach out to someone and you're afraid, man, what if they're still worried about that? Like the way we left things off 3 months ago. What if they're still upset about that? You're probably overthinking it. All the negatives that it might be true, you're probably overthinking it. And then it's okay. Hey, AI thing. I want to reach back out to my friend. I'm afraid that they're going to feel badly about how we left things off. What can I do to help that go better? How can I reach out?
There you go. Yeah.
Which, and so like with all that isolation, we end up in this microcosm where we don't have the support we need to build more support. It's like you have to have money to make money. You have to be healthy to stay healthy. It's like all these paradoxical catch-22s. You have to have friends to make friends, to have social connections, to build social connections. And when we are reduced to very few, this could be a very good tool for support, extra add-on, making it through.
Yeah, great. Yeah. No, thank you. Any other insights you'd like to share?
Not that wouldn't be significantly nerding out about video games and AI and video games, but that perhaps can be a different conversation.
Definitely sounds like
there is the things we see in the media of them might be portrayed as persons and individuals. We're not there yet.
Got you.
When we get there, I guess we can retouch this conversation.
Yes, definitely. My gosh, Brady, thank you so much. Very interesting conversation. I always love that you're willing to come on to engage me in these kind of conversations. So thank you again.
Yeah, certainly. Next one that comes up, let me know.
Yep. Oh, definitely. I'd also like to thank the team behind the podcast, Jason Clayton and Juliana Whitten. Thank you for listening to Converse from the Couch. Take care, everyone.